Alright, well, with much delay, we finally got the roll cage in pieces, but I kind of figured that much. I didn't figure that they would assemble it for me, but guess we'll figure out if it's really, designed to fit into a javelin or an AMX. So that's what I can tell you right now. Okay, well, they didn't send me any instructions, or if they did, UPS lost them, I don't know. But I am definitely not a professional, so this is all amateur. I kind of looked on YouTube. The only real videos I found were just kit that were already pre-made that people are just welding in their cars. There are some guys that are just making their own, but they're making some really over-the-top, stuff that is probably really good for a real race car, but we're just trying to put in a roll bar, so I'm just gonna do the best I can. Now, I put the seat in here and I had wife come out and do some measurements for me. So if I'm sitting fully in this seat, and this seat's exactly reclined the way that I drive and everything, the back of your helmet shouldn't be further than 6 inches from the bar, which it's not. It's actually only like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches from the bar when I'm sitting in there. And then the height of your helmet shouldn't be, I think, closer than 3 inches, but I'm sitting fully seated in here. I'm exactly 3 inches from the top of my helmet to the bottom of the bar. So I'm thinking that's pretty good. I also just had her kind of mark a line around my shoulder area, because I'm guessing that center bar's got to be pretty close to where I need my seat belt, harness, whatever you want to call it, to attach to for my shoulders. So just kind of getting it stuck in there. Now, I already figured all that crud that they welded in there and did a real horrible job on. Whoever had the first crummy cage in this thing didn't have it in right anyways. It says that you need to mount it onto your existing frame or whatever, so right in that area next to the wheel well is where the unibody frame is on this. So I'm going to bring the rear bars right into that area right there. So, and obviously I'll have to redo my electrical, but that's where I'm going to bring the bars down. That'll be right on the frame, kind of right between everything. And then I'll get the kind of figure out where my center bar is. And I can't really find any specific information on where these sidebars go. But since this kit is actually made for an AMX and a javelin, the door to this part of the car is identical to a javelin, so, and all this stuff's already pre-notched and pre-cut except for the rear bars. So I'm guessing wherever they're going to fit into the floor proper is going to be the height of them. That's my guesstimation, but that's all assuming that you're putting your bar right here. So I don't know about that yet, but anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. None of this stuff's welded in. I just got some cardboard shoved up in there to hold it straight, and my little angle magnet thingy, and then I threw a level on it and a level on the car just to kind of see. The car's a little out of level, but not bad. My floor actually slopes since there's no drain, so it's not like a level floor I'm on anyways. But I know, I'm guessing you want this as straight up and down plumb as you can get it, so I'm gonna just be doing a lot of gauging with just the car itself to help me out too. I mean, I'll keep a level on it, but I'll use the car as my guide as well. So anyways, that's kind of what we got going on so far. Well, it's the next day. Stayed up kind of late messing with it. So this is a Rhodes roll bar kit, and unless UPS bent it or something. The only problem I can see with the kit was his main hoop was a little bit twisted, so I had to mess around with and stuff, but I got it pretty straight. The whole thing is like well, it's like an 1/8 inch out of square basically, but everything is pretty much lined up, welded in the way that I want it, and got my rear little plates on there, grinded out the back part of the car where those plates are going to go. Got my shoulder bar the way I wanted it, and got everything welded together completely. The only problem I can tell you, so these are pre-notched. They send all this stuff pre-notched, and there's 2 different notches they have. This type of notch, which you can see is different, that's for the sidebars, and then they have the regular just notched out hole saw straight through. These ones here were pretty good on this bar here, the pre-notch. These ones here weren't very good, and it wasn't because I had to run them at any angle. They didn't cut them out very well, so I ended up having, like, it was nice and tight here, but then I'd have this weird kind of like cut out here, and then everything else was nice and flush around where I could just weld right around it. So I ended up having to put a little bit on the fronts here, a little bit more weld than I wanted to, so I just kind of flapper disked it down and cleaned it up, and just when I paint it, it should look a lot better. But like I said, the rest of it was fine, no gaps or anything on it, but just on those 2 bars, the gaps weren't very good, and I tried swapping them around and everything before I even cut the angles on the bottom, but it didn't really matter. So that was the only those were the only 2 things I noticed on this roll bar. But the tweakiness, that could have been from shipping, but the notch, you know, I don't know. They didn't send any instructions, unless UPS just didn't give them to us, and you know, there was other stuff with it, I don't know, because my wife picked it up and all she got was just the bars and the hoop, no paperwork or anything on it. So, and I kind of looked, there's not a whole lot of instructions for the stuff, a few references on where your helmet should be and all that, but I'm just doing the best I can on what I see on pictures and the little bit of information I can find about them. So hopefully it'll be a legal cage and nobody will cry about it. Alright, and that's it, sitting in place. I still haven't welded it. I want to do a little bit more stuff to it before I final weld it. And they did send plates for all the legs, but like I said, we already had these nice thick 1/4 inch plates, and they sent these little 1/8 inch plates, so we're just going to utilize what we have. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to put these sidebars in right now or not, because literally I just guess I would weld a plate down in the floorboard. You know, and then that would be the bar, which isn't terrible, but you know, it's kind of a pain. I might try to see if I can't drop it a little lower, but I can only want to go with the cutouts, you know. But there we go. And I can go lower, I guess, and get it higher up in the floor. And I'm not 100% sure what that's going to do for me, because there's no frame rails or anything I can tie this into unless I cut the whole side of the panel out there. So I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to put those in yet. I'll think about it, but I haven't decided. Well, just piddling on door bar here. So with the gaps nice and closed and flush, that's about where it sits. which isn't too terrible. I mean, I kind of got in and out of the car. Your bum kind of slides across the bar a little bit, but I was gonna put some of that foam wrap on here anyways, probably here and maybe along some of the hoop here, just so I don't bump my head without a helmet. But I gotta come up with an idea how I'm gonna do this. I'm talking to a guy on Instagram that's got a pretty sweet cage in his AMX, and I was asking him how he boxed in or what he did for that part of the cage. So, but and then I'm kind of just trying to figure out if I want to paint the orange or the roll bar orange or black, and got a few suggestions. So I'm not going to get to painting it probably today anyways. I'm just trying to get everything built so I can do a final weld, because I mean, it's not welded in the car yet. I still got to work on grinding all the paint and everything away for the back plates, and then I got to smash them down a little bit, hammer them down, and conform them to the floor a little bit, and clean up my deal in here. I just tack welded that one real quick to hold it in place, because like I said, the bar is a little bit twisty, so it doesn't like to stay still. So I just kind of threw a tack on him to hold him there. But as soon as I get this kind of figured out, I can pre-weld all that together, and then I can notch and mark this where that's going to go. Pull the seat back out, grind all this out, and finish grinding everything. And then as long as I don't weld these on, I can probably paint everything to about, you know, a certain area. Obviously I can't paint where I'm going to be welding, and I'll pull this all out, paint it as far as I can, and then shove it back in the car. So that's where I'm at right now. Well, kind of just got going here and didn't really do too much videoing on this stuff, but got this door one all put in the car. I painted it orange. Whether if you follow on Instagram or not, I put a vote on black or orange, and most people wanted orange. I obviously didn't paint all the way down because I had to weld in that door bar and weld the floor in and stuff like that. So I'll do the last little bit in black probably, but she's coming out pretty good so far. So alright, well, after you get everything welded in, I guess, the way you want, you can paint all your welds and all that good stuff. Try not to get too much overspray like I've already got. This is just dust mostly, but I painted the bottom half black on all the roll bar areas just for cosmetics. But I gotta let that dry a little bit, and I got a little overexcited with the orange. But anyways, get this stuff a little bit of time to dry up. I'm gonna clean up my floor because it's getting pretty gross, and I'll move on to the next step, the roll bar. Alright, well, it's about as far as I'm gonna get with them today. So I just got some speaker carpet again, and we're just going to do the halves with speaker carpet. I just kind of went over the welded floor there, and these seats are, you know, pretty much not any good. So just get some cheap seat covers, throw over it, and I actually removed all the trim off the actual seat itself and cut it and put all that back around it just to give it a little bit more strength so it's not moving around on us. My engineering here, which you might be able to see it, I took a piece of clear masking like packaging tape and put a strip on here. Like I said, it's actually pretty tough to bring up. There it is. And the reason why is my door hoopty. Where am I at here? There it is. Crushes into that bar, so that'll keep it from scratching up too bad. I mean, this is just the scuff coming off of the door panel itself. I think these were red at one time. They've been painted black, and they're not in very good condition, as you can tell. But yeah, I'm gonna start working on that side, and I'll get the other seat all put together and put in there. And now I'm gonna actually get racing seats for this car, but you know, I've only got so much funds right now, so gotta slow down a little bit. So these factory seats will be fine for now. Probably get a, you know, a 4-point or whatever harness that'll go over the bar and everything. So, but all in all, it went pretty good. No real problems. I cut that piece of 6x6 plate, and I cut it and actually welded it up into the rocker panel, and that little gap right there is actually the floor support under the car, so it kind of worked out pretty good. It's better than nothing. And then I painted all my welds I had on that stuff. And then these plates are thin enough so you can conform them to the, or form them to the floor to match the floor a little bit. So anyways, came out pretty good. You know, it was a little over $300 for the roll bar, 6-point, or you could just leave it a 4-point. You know, for the amount I paid for it, other than shipping mishap with UPS, I would recommend it. I mean, those rear bars here are several feet longer because this is specified for AMX and Javelin, and obviously the Javelin's a lot long, well, at least 1.5 feet longer than this car. So so the bars would work in a Javelin too, to extend all the way over wherever you're going to put them. So yeah, all the pre-cuts were pretty good except for the 2 bars going here, which I talked about. They did not fit very well onto the bar, but I'm not smart enough to grind them or do anything better with them myself, so I just, you know, did my best. Had to weld up a little bit more of a gap, and like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm definitely not a professional welder, but came in pretty good. I mean, my welds I feel are good enough for me. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll get after it again on another video. Just a quick view on this side, I guess.